All right, I'm getting faster at this. I'm live. How's everybody doing? Wait for some people to arrive. Hey, welcome back, Megan. Oh, goodness. Um, so, today is Friday. I'm feeling a little bit more of the stress and anxiety from everything that's going on. I think I kind of, for the, last month I've been running off adrenaline. And then there's just moments where it kind of hits you. And I couldn't have been the only one in Nashville last night who felt a little triggered by the thunderstorms. So I definitely woke up at every gust of wind, and every crack of thunder, checking the weather, shooting up in my bed. So I didn't get the best sleep last night. So I just wanted to share with you a couple of things I've done today just to help kind of make me feel better and ease my anxiety. One of the things, because I haven't been able to find any hand sanitizer at the stores, so my friend Karen suggested I took a little bit of rubbing alcohol, like half or a quarter of this rubbing alcohol and some water. And I've just been carrying this around with me all day. And, like every time I touch a light switch or a doorknob or something, I just spray it before and I spray it after, and it's just kind of easing my mind a little bit. Another thing that's really been helpful today, I borrowed this from Kate. So I do have power back at my house, but I don't have internet yet. So I've had to come here and work every day at Kate's, and she's being wonderful and letting me do that. And I also borrowed a little bit of this essential oil that she had. It's the Breathe. You don't have to have this, but something that I think the thing that's really been helping me is the peppermint. So I've just been taking a little bit of that and just putting it on my nose so that I'm inhaling the peppermint, and it just is, it's really making me feel calm. So that's another thing you can do if you feel a little anxious today. So in that vein of feeling kind of stressed and anxious today, I wanted to do a more restorative flow. So if that's not what you're in the mood for, if you feel like working hard and working on some strengthening things, if you go to my Facebook, all of the classes that I've done this week are still on there. And I've up until today, I've done more challenging classes. So if you feel like you want a more challenging class, just go find Erica Porter on Facebook. You can request my friendship, and I'll accept it. But I think they're public, so you can see them. It's just Monday through yesterday, and they're all more challenging. So if that's what you feel like today, go find those and you can watch those. But what I want to do today is just a little more restorative. So if that sounds good to you, then let's do it. Before I get started, again, just to preface, everyone's body's different. This is a restorative flow, so it's not going to be as challenging, but if there's something that doesn't feel right in your body, I just want you to respect yourself and your body and back off when and if you need to. And then I'll also be accepting donations if that's something you feel or have the means to do right now. I know a lot of people are out of work, so no pressure. I want you to be here if you need it. But if you do feel inclined to send me something through Venmo, my name is Erica-Porter, so it's ERIKA-Porter, PORTER. I'm also on PayPal. That's eport628@gmail.com. So, do whatever you feel good about, no pressure. We're just going to do a restorative flow today. So, does anybody have any questions? No? All right, cool. So we're going to start for this restorative flow. We're going to start on our mat. See if you can find like a pillow. Like I've got this square pillow. If you have a bolster, by all means, grab your bolster. Depending on, your flexibility and everything, you might want a couple pillows. So you can take one and another one just for just to try it out. So we're going to start with a heart opener. So taking your pillow, if you've got like a pillow from the bed, like one of those long and skinny ones, take it lengthwise down at the top of your mat. And I'm gonna stack two, and you're gonna take, your head is gonna stay on the pillow, so your head's not dropping off the pillow. So you're gonna lay down over the pillow, your head stays on the pillow, and then take your arms out to the side, palms up. So your feet can either just stay grounded to the mat, maybe you wanna knock your knees in. If you wanna take the soles of the feet wide, or soles of the feet together, knees wide, you can do that. If you'd like to just extend the legs long, you can do that. So wherever you feel good, just find a space where you feel good. If you feel like you're getting too much of an arch in your low back, like there's any pinching or pulling in that lumbar spine, from here you would just bring the soles of the feet to the mat. You press and then just kind of untuck a little bit so you lengthen through the low back. And that should relieve the pinching there. So wherever you feel good, let's close the eyes or just try to take a soft gaze and start to focus in on your breath. So if you feel yourself kind of wound up tight, maybe take a couple of sighs out the mouth. And just let yourself kind of settle into a more natural, slow breath. So as you start to slow down your breath, start to notice how that affects your body. You might feel a little more calm in the body. You feel how the shoulders and chest open slightly with this support under the back. You might notice that the thoughts and the mind start to slow down and quiet. And you can take this opportunity to set an intention for this class. So just thinking about something that you're working on. It could be something you're trying to gain. It could be something you're trying to let go of. Whatever it is, just try to keep it simple. Try to narrow it down to 1 or 2 words. And then throughout this restorative flow today, if you feel like you lose focus, start to get that kind of anxious energy, you just remind yourself to come back to your breath. And you can use that intention like an anchor to help bring you back into this calmer, steadier place. Just a few more rounds of breath here like this. Good, and slowly start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. You can stretch the arms over the head. Maybe yawn in and sigh out. And then walking the feet in. So the soles of the feet are to the mat. Bring your hands down by your sides. So pressing into your hands, tuck the chin, and then just press yourself up. So you're coming into a comfortable seat. So I just realized I did not put my clock forward so I can see what time it is. Keep you guys here for 3 hours. Okay, so finding a comfortable seat on your mat. So you might want to take that pillow that you just used and sit up on the pillow. So the reason you sit up on the pillow is to kind of take some of that strain out of the hips and the hamstrings. So you want to try to get your knees either in line or a little bit below your sits bones. So if you want to sit yourself up on the second pillow, you can. Just kind of find a space that feels really comfortable to you because we're going to sit here for a moment. So as you're in this pose, if you start to feel uncomfortable with the legs, you're always welcome to kind of switch the cross of the legs out, but try to stay still if you feel comfortable here. Good, so bringing your hands palm down onto your knees. Close your eyes for a moment. You're in this neutral spine now. See if you notice any shift after that heart opener. And again, try to find your breath. Good, and then on your next exhale, just tuck the chin down towards the chest. Feel the stretch through the back of the neck. And find your breath. And then start to move the head. So rock the ear to shoulder, ear to the opposite shoulder. And just try to move instinctually here. So connect this movement with your breath. Let this feel really good on the muscles in the neck. Make sure you're still sitting nice and tall in your seat. And then you're going to pause with the left ear to the left shoulder. So again, make sure you're still sitting nice and tall in your seat, and then just let that left ear drop towards the left shoulder. Good, you're going to bring your right hand out to a 45-degree angle. Take your thumb into your palm, and then wrap the forefingers around the thumb. So your palm is still towards me, and you're going to tilt that thumb down towards the earth. And then taking that left hand up and over to the right temple. Breathing here. Good, releasing that right hand back down onto the thigh. Start to turn that chin down towards the left collarbone and then move your hand to the back of the head. So you're not forcing this, you're not pulling this. You're just putting a little added weight onto the back of the head. So now you feel this on that back right side of the neck down into the top of the shoulder. So really try to relax that right shoulder down. Using your breath to try to feel this expansion on your inhales and release and lengthen on your exhales. Just a few more rounds of breath here. Good, so on your inhale, this is a little tricky, so watch me. You're gonna keep this left ear towards the left shoulder, but the chin is gonna start to turn up towards the sky, lifting up, and then you're gonna stack the palms on this right pec. So I learned this goodie from Cameron Clark. Just putting a little bit of pull down onto that right pec. You can feel this up through the pec and then into that right side of the neck. That's your scalene muscles. Sometimes it can feel a little uncomfortable to stretch through the throat like that. So don't push it too far. Just take it to where you feel comfortable and try to take a few more rounds of breath here. Let's take one more really good inhale. And then on your exhale, release the hands to the thighs. Let that chin come back to the center of the chest. And then slowly start to roll the head back up on top of the shoulders. Find some stillness here for a moment. Let those muscles settle. Breathe into it. And then start to roll out your shoulders, roll out your head. And then letting the chin come back down to the chest. And then again, start to rock the head, ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. So notice how one side of the neck feels different now compared to the other. So just building that awareness of how your body shifts and changes. And then we're going to pause with the right ear to the right shoulder. So make sure you're still sitting nice and tall in your seat, right ear to the right shoulder. Take that left arm out to a 45-degree angle. So the palm is towards me. Taking the thumb into the palm, wrap the forefingers around the thumb. So keep that palm towards me and then start to pull the thumb down towards the earth. And then let that right hand come up and over to the left temple. So again, you're not forcing this, you're just adding a little extra weight to help encourage those muscles to release. Try to find your breath, deep, full inhales. Long, extended exhales. On your next exhale, just release that left hand down to the thigh. Start to turn the chin down towards the right collarbone and move the hand to the back of the head. So just a little tug, not forcing it. Feel this in that left side of the back of the neck and down into the top of the shoulder. Make sure you're still sitting nice and tall in your seat and breathe here. Good. So on your inhale, you're going to start to lift the chin up so you keep the right ear tucked towards the right shoulder. It's the chin that's spinning up and lifting up into the throat. And then you're going to stack the hands on the left pec this time. So just kind of feel yourself pulling down through that left pec. You get this stretch through here and up through the throat into those scaling muscles. Remembering that it might feel just a little uncomfortable, so take it to a place where you feel like you're challenging yourself, but not so far that you're overwhelming your senses. So just try to find that edge and breathe into it. Good. Take one more inhale. And then on your exhale, release the hands to the thighs. Take the chin back to the center of the chest. And then roll the head back up on top of the shoulders. Find some stillness here first. Let all those muscles just settle into that. Breathe into it. And then you can roll out your shoulders, roll out your head. Good. Coming back to neutral. On an inhale, take the arms up over the head, palms touch, look up. Exhale, take the right hand behind you, left hand to the right knee. Find a little twist. So feel that core engage slightly to support that low back. And then let your chest, your thoracic spine, guide you in this twist. So you initiate with the chest, and then you can just let that head gaze over towards the right as far as feels comfortable. Every inhale, see if you can try to lengthen your spine a little more. Every exhale, see if you can twist just the tiniest bit deeper. Good. And then exhale, coming back to center. Inhaling the arms up over the head, palms touch, look up. Exhale, take the left hand behind you, right hand to the left knee. Again, feel that slight engagement of the core to protect your low back, and then let your chest guide you. So oftentimes in twists or like heart openers, we initiate with our lumbar spine because it's more flexible than our thoracic. But what we have to be careful with that is like maybe you can get real far with your lumbar, but then your thoracic would hyperextend trying to catch up. So that's why you always initiate with that chest. That's to avoid hyperextension and protect your spine. gazing towards the left. For one more inhale. And then exhale, coming back through the midline. Good, inhale the arms up over the head, palms touch. Exhale, take the left elbow underneath the right. You can either wrap at the wrist here or just give yourself a big bear hug. So whichever is accessible to you. Find that nice tall seat. On an inhale, lift the elbows up, forearms away from the face. Lift the chest up, open through the throat. On your exhale, start to squeeze the elbows back down into the chest, forearms into the face, round through the upper back and tuck the chin. Good, do that again. Inhale, lifting up, opening the heart. Exhale, tucking in and rounding. Two more like that. Inhale, lifting up and opening. Exhale, tucking in and rounding. One more. Inhale, lifting up and opening. Exhale, tucking in and rounding. Coming back to neutral, releasing the arms. Take a second to just shake out the shoulders, shake out the arms. And then inhale the arms up over the head, palms touch, look up. Exhale, this time take your right elbow underneath the left. Again, maybe just that bear hug, grabbing the shoulders, or maybe you can get that double wrap around the wrist. Make sure you're sitting nice and tall in your seat. And on your next inhale, lift the elbows up, forearms away from the face. Lift the chest, open through the throat. And then exhale, tucking and rounding everything in, tuck the chin. Inhale, lifting up, opening. Exhale, tucking in and rounding. I think one more. Inhale, lifting up and opening. Exhale, tucking in and rounding. And coming back to neutral, releasing the arms and shake it out. Need to get better at counting how many I do on each side. I usually rely on my students. I'm like, do we do it one more time? And they're like, yeah or no. But I can't read what you're saying, so we'll just go with it. All right, so from here, you're gonna take the props out from underneath you if you have them there. We're gonna come into a tabletop position. Good, so from tabletop, you're gonna keep the hips stacked over the knees. We're gonna come into puppy dog pose. So reach the arms out long. You can just rest the arms down and the forearm down. Feel this tailbone tilt up as if it was rolling down the back towards the head. And just breathe into the spine. Feel those armpits reach towards the mat. Good, inhale, start to slide the hands a little bit closer to you, and then you're gonna press yourself into your downward facing dog. So start to pedal out the feet, stretching through the ankles and the calves. Good. And then from down dog, you're gonna inhale your right leg up, bend the knee and stack the hips. So keep your shoulders square to the mat. Start to roll out your ankle joint. And then roll out your hip. So take your knee and draw big giant circles in one direction. And then switch it to the opposite direction. Good, and then level the hips, straighten the leg, flex the toes towards the earth. Take an inhale and look between the hands. Exhale, step the foot in between the hands. Drop the back knee, untuck the back toes. So you can stay here on your hands and just kind of rock side to side if that feels good. You're welcome to take your hands and stack them on top of your right thigh. And again, if it feels good to just kind of bounce a little bit, opening through the top of this left thigh, you can do that. Find your breath. And then on your next exhale, bringing the hands down to the earth, start to straighten through the right leg, sitting the hips back. You can walk your hands back a little bit, coming into half splits. Your hamstring on the back of that right thigh connects to that sit bone, which is that bony point at the bottom of your pelvis, your sits bone. So imagine that that sit bone is pulling back and reaching towards the back of the room. So you might not get your leg totally straight, but try to avoid the urge of rounding through the back like this to try to get a straight leg. So if you need to bend your knee a little bit and then just pull the hips back, you're gonna really feel that in your hamstring. So just breathing here into your hamstring for one more exhale. And then inhale, bending back into the right knee, plant the left hand, open up the right for a little twist. So you have the option to press into the top of the left foot and lift the left knee to get a stretch through the top of the foot and the shin. You don't have to do that, it's just an option. Good, if you have the knee lifted, go ahead and drop it down. We're gonna take our right hand, bring it to the inside of your right foot and heel toe that right foot out and up, stacking the shoulders over the wrist for runner's lunge. So it might feel good to sway a little side to side here. Remember, you can always lift yourself up. So if you have like a couple of blocks or maybe like books or something you can put your hands on and stay up a little higher if this is pretty intense on the top of that thigh. Good. So on your next inhale, you're just gonna start to heel toe that foot back in between the hands. So that right hand goes onto the outside edge of the foot. And then you're gonna take that right foot and slide it back and bend the knee all the way past the toes. We're gonna get into this ankle joint. So we're working on flexion of the foot. So you get to the point where the heel naturally starts to lift so that you can kind of work on your edge there, resisting, stretching through the ankle and up into that calf. I like to bring the weight of my body onto the thigh, maybe sway a little. I really like swaying. I feel like it helps to kind of warm the muscle up a little bit, encouraging it to open and release. Good. So from here, you're going to just lift the hips up, untuck the back toes, lift the back knee, step the foot forward just enough to get the heel to connect, coming into pyramid pose. This left hip, you're going to want to roll in towards the inner right thigh so that the pelvis is level. Again, if you need to put your hands up on some blocks, books, whatever you've got, you can rise up a little bit. Good, so you're gonna bend into the right knee just a little bit so that you can plant the hands and you're gonna come back to downward facing dog. Take a deep inhale here. Opening the mouth, exhale. Inhaling the left leg up, bend the knee and stack the hip. Roll out your ankle joint. And then roll out your hip joint. So take your knee, draw big giant circles. Think about that femur bone, lubricating the joint, getting that full range of motion. Good, and then level the hip, straighten the leg, flex the toes down, look forward on an inhale. And then exhale, step the foot in between the hands, drop the right knee, untuck the right toes. So again, you can bring your fingertips to the earth, maybe up on some, just gonna keep saying books, get your books. Maybe your hands come to your thighs. If it feels good, you can sway a little, bounce, opening through the top of your right thigh. So these hip flexors. Good, and then exhale for half split. straightening through the left leg as best you can. But the goal is to pull the sits bones back. Try to avoid that rounding over in the spine. It's not about how far down you get with your torso. It's about the hinge from the hips. So really pulling the hips back. See if you can get that hamstring stretch. Good. On your next exhale, bending back into the left knee. Plant the right hand down. Could be up on a book. And then open up to the left for a twist. So option here to press into the left foot, lift the left knee, or right foot, right knee. Good, dropping the knee if it was lifted. Take your left hand to the inside of your left foot. Heel toe that foot out and up. You can stack your hands up on something if you'd like. And let's just take a few rounds of breath here. Really working on those hip flexors again. So when we open up the leg a little wider past the midline, we're targeting a muscle called your psoas. So that's one of the hip flexors that allows you to open up laterally to the side like that. So that's why it's kind of off to the side. That psoas starts at the inside of the femur bone and moves back and connects to 5 vertebrae of the spine. So you might even feel this a little bit in that back. It's one of those muscles that really likes to get tight. Good. So on your next inhale, you're going to heel toe that foot back in between the hands. And then you're going to scooch the foot back and bend the knee all the way past the toes to the point where the heel just naturally starts to lift. We're getting into that ankle joint. So think about flexion at your feet. Good. So from here, you're just going to slowly start to lift the hips a little bit. Untuck the back toes, lift the back knee, walk the foot forward just enough to get that heel to connect, straightening through the legs. If you need to lift up onto some blocks, you can. Hinging from the hips, this right hip, it wants to roll open. So you feel this right hip roll in towards that inner left thigh to level the pelvis. Good. Bending into that knee a little bit so that you can stack, so that you can press the hands into the mat and step back to downward facing dog. Good. Dropping the knees, sitting back for child's pose, forehead to the mat. So in child's pose, if you feel pulling or pinching at your knee, you can take a pillow, blanket, something, and wedge it behind the knees so that when you sit back, there's just a little less pressure on the knee joint. If your tops of your feet are really tight and it's hard to get them down, you can take that pillow, take your knees and shins up on the pillow, but the feet come off the edge of the back side of the pillow. So that just takes some pressure off the tops of the feet. So wherever you're at, bringing your forehead down. So in a child's pose, your head is below your heart. Anytime your head is below your heart, you're in an inversion. For several years in my practice, I hear teachers say, when you're in an inversion, it swaps the blood flow. And for a long time, I was like, what the hell does that mean? Finally, I figured it out. What they mean by that is that when your head is below your heart, the blood flow that typically has to work against gravity to get up to the head and gets pulled down by gravity down towards the legs. Now when you're in this inversion, the blood flow has to shift in its pull and gravity. The blood is on a pump, so it's naturally going to go through that cycle anyway, but gravity does have an influence. So that's why they tell you if you have a panic attack to put your head in between your knees. because when you slow down your heart rate, that blood flow, it's going to slow down your nervous system. So it has this calming effect on the body and the mind. So let yourself just enjoy that calming effect from the inversion. Good. So you're going to slowly come up. We're just going to come on to our butts. You're going to take the legs out long in front of you. So if you have very tight hamstrings, if sitting here like this causes you to round like this in your low back, then you take a pillow, 2 pillows, as many pillows as you need, sit up, and you really want to feel like your lumbar spine is in neutral. So those sits bones are kind of rolling forward. Try to avoid this rounding back like that. So you sit up as far as you need. You can always bend the knees a little bit to help yourself find that. That helps to build that core strength too, that protects the low back. So it's more important to have that nice supported neutral spine than it is to have straight legs or be straight on the ground. So priorities: protect your back, protect your spine. So wherever you feel good sitting here, we're going to take the right foot to the outside of the left thigh. Good. So from here, taking your right hand behind you, wrap the left elbow around the shin and twist. So it feels good to just kind of pull that leg in towards the body. If you feel like you want a little deeper twist here, you can take your elbow in front of that right thigh. Good. Coming back to neutral. So just check in, make sure you've got both those sits bones down into the mat. If you can, take your left heel towards the right glute, but keep those sits bones down on the ground. So if this right hip is lifting up, then you take your prop, sit up on the prop to try to get those sits bones down. So if it hurts your knees or it's just too tight, you can just keep that leg extended. So either with the extended leg or this leg back, you're going to start to heel toe that right foot out, working to stack the knees. So this knee might be way up here, and that's totally okay. Just take it to where you feel like you're getting the stretch. So from here, take a deep inhale, and then exhale, start to fold over. This is called Gomukhasana. So just breathing here. Try to find your edge. So I know sometimes yoga poses can be daunting. You can see a picture of it or see somebody doing it and think, I'm nowhere close to that. I think the number one thing I hear from people who, when they say they don't do yoga, it's because they're not flexible. I think it was Liz or Ashley from Triluna that said this, but you don't start to go lift weights already strong. The reason you do yoga is to help gain flexibility. So if you're not flexible now, that's a good reason to do yoga. That's the best reason to do yoga. You just have to learn to start with where you're at, have compassion and patience for the process, and try not to push yourself too far too fast. We have that urge for immediate gratification. So part of extend the legs out long and shake it out. So I really like to take my hands and literally shake my thighs. Maybe roll out your kneecaps. Good. And then from here, you're going to take the left foot to the outside of the right thigh. So keep this right foot flexed. Sitting nice and tall on your spine. Take the left hand behind you, right hand in front of that shin, and twist. So I think it feels really nice to squeeze that leg into me. You get a little into that IT band and hip. But if you want to get a little more in this twist, you can take your elbow in front of the thigh and twist a little deeper. Good. And slowly start to come back. Check in with your sits bones. So feel yourself evenly distributing the weight between the two. If you feel good here, you can take your right heel, tuck it back towards the right glute. If you feel yourself lifting up on one of those sits bones, then take your pillow, sit up on the pillow, try to get that pelvis level. If you need to extend the leg back out and just start from here, you can do that. Whether you have the foot tucked or the foot straight, you're going to start to heel toe that right foot out, trying to stack the knees. So this is what it looks like with a straight leg. This is what it looks like with that leg back. So finding that nice tall spine, exhale, folding over. Could be like physically, like this is how flexible my hamstrings are or are not. They might be mentally. I can only breathe so much before you start to just get overwhelmed. Just kind of checking in with what you need, where you're at. And then once you can see and be clear with yourself with where you're at, then you start to be able to see just those little steps, those little baby steps towards your goals. And you can also see as you take those little baby steps towards your goals, maybe as you move towards your goal, there's a better option for you that makes more sense that you wouldn't have seen if you projected and looked all the way up here first. As you made your way, you might be like, oh, look, that's actually more suited for me. So learning how to find contentment with where you are and then set these realistic baby step goals towards what you want. Good. On your next inhale, slowly rise up. Bring the hands behind you. Release the legs out long and shake it out. Good. Take a moment here to shake it out, realizing that my Facebook Live is not working. I don't know why. Well, that's fine. All right, so from here, a couple of options for you. So we're gonna end in a restorative pose. So the first option would be legs up the wall. If you don't want to do legs up the wall, you can lay on your back again with that pillow like we started at the beginning of class. You can just lay over the pillow with your soles of the feet wide, knees up, or extend the legs. If you'd like to do legs up the wall, find a wall that your feet can go up. And I like to have a little bit of a lift. So take your pillow or your blanket, fold it up at the wall. And this one can be kind of tricky to get into. So watch me before you try to do it if you've never done it before. So you're going to sit your hip. You're going to be on the pillow and you're going to sit your hip next to the wall. And then from here, it's this sort of two-part movement where you're going to lean back, kind of swoop around and let those legs come up on the wall. So from here, you're going to try to scooch the legs as close to the wall as possible and extend the legs up. So wherever you're at, I just want you to be in a resting pose. The benefit of legs up the wall, what I was explaining earlier about inversions. So your legs are all the way up, your feet are all the way up. They're never above your head. Maybe sometimes, but they're rarely above your head like that. And with this little lift of the pillow, your heart and your head are at an angle, so your head is below your heart. So this is an inversion. So you might start to feel with your feet up the wall like this, you might start to feel a little like It's like kind of cool or hot or tingly, that sensation. And like I was saying before, that blood flow, it's on a pump. It's going to get up there no matter what. But because gravity is not helping it anymore, like when you're standing on your feet, gravity pulls the blood down. The blood is going to start to kind of come down a little bit. You might feel that almost like your feet are falling asleep a little bit. But one really good benefit of this is the inflammation in your joints. A lot of times we get inflammation in our ankles or our knees. And your lymphatic system is not on a pump. So by being upside down like this, if you have excess unnecessary fluid, it can help drain that out a little bit. And as you're here for a little while, you might start to notice that you feel that sense of calm in the body. This is a great pose if you have insomnia. So if you have a hard time sleeping at night, just putting the legs up the wall and closing the eyes and taking 10 to 15 minutes here might help you calm the nervous system so that you can go to sleep. Because usually insomnia is caused by an overactive nervous system. You just can't shut your mind off. So this helps you to calm it all back down. So just let yourself kind of close your eyes or rest here. You can always just keep the legs up. I'm going to do a couple different variations for you to try. So maybe you'd like to slide the feet down and take the soles of the feet together, knees wide. So kind of like Supta Baddha Konasana. And from here, maybe you'd like to take your hands to those inner thighs and just kind of encourage those muscles to open. Bless me. Sometimes I like to take my hands at my hip crease and just kind of press down. Feels good on that low back. And so you can stay in this variation if you'd like. If you want to try a different variation, you can take your legs up the wall again. And you have to have enough room with the wall beside you. So this is going to be tricky with these two doors next to me, but we'll see what happens. So you have to have enough room. So you're going to start to take the legs wide. All right, that works. So taking the legs wide, and just start to feel how those heels slide down a little bit. Just take it as wide as feels comfortable. It's going to be kind of an intense inner thigh stretch here. So try to breathe in it and see if you can let those muscles release and relax a little bit. But if it becomes really overwhelming and you can't find that breath, you can always take the legs back together. But we'll be here for about 5 more reps. Whatever variation feels best to you. Let's just do 5 more rounds of breath. Good. So we're slowly going to start those feet start to tingle and warm up a little bit. Then from here, you're just going to start to roll over onto your side. Take a moment, curled in this fetal position. And then slowly drag yourself up. And then we're going to just do a little Shavasana. So find yourself back on your mat. So be careful not to get too close to the wall. I don't want your feet to be flexed up against the wall. So maybe even take your head towards the wall. And then lay down on your back. If you want a pillow here to lift your head up, you can have that. Basically, the pillow is going to help prevent you from having this chin slaying back. So if you can tuck the chin and extend to the neck, cool. But if it feels better to elevate with a pillow, do that. Just make sure that your shoulders are not on the pillow. So your shoulders are relaxing down onto your mat. Your head is the only thing elevated. And then your arms are out to the side, palms up. Let the feet just flop open. And then close your eyes if you feel comfortable with closed eyes. And just try to enjoy these last few moments here in this final Shavasana. Having had that legs up the wall, you should feel pretty chill. You are more than welcome to stay in the Shavasana as long as you want. But when you feel ready for it, just start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Extending the arms over the head, find a full body stretch, maybe a nice yawn and sigh out. And then pulling the knees in, rolling over to your side, finding a fetal position. Take a moment, nice and cozy on your side. Feel gratitude for your practice, for taking the time, despite the circumstances, to find your practice. And then using that hand, that top hand, to just drag yourself up. Try to let the head be the very last thing to stack, coming into a comfortable seat. Finding those sits bones, hands palm down on the thighs. Take a moment here. So all of those postures that we do, they're called asanas. That word asana translates to finding a comfortable seat. So just notice how you feel in your body after moving through those poses. Do you feel more comfortable in this seat? Slowly start to bring the palms together at your heart. And letting the palms slide up so the thumbs are in between the eyebrows. Just pressing the thumbs into that space, maybe a little massage there. The teacher and the light in me honors, respects, and sees the teacher and the light in you. Namaste. We've done it. Oh no. I lost Instagram. And I lost Facebook. What happened? All right, well, YouTube, you're the only one that survived. And there's 2 people. Yay. Well, I hope you enjoyed class. Let me know if you have any questions. If you want to make a donation, you can find me on Venmo. It's Erica-Porter. I hope you enjoyed the practice and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I guess I'll have to make an announcement on Instagram now. I'm going to give myself Saturday and Sunday to just be chill. Starting on Monday, my 11:30 on Monday in Nashville is typically in at Kali Yuga Yoga. and they're doing some Zoom classes. So I'll figure out the link to that. So my 11:30 on Monday will be through Zoom at Caliuga. And then, probably for the rest of the week, I'll do live streams again. So I'll keep you updated. Thanks for coming. Have a good day. Love you.